Um, in a team environment, what role do you usually take on? I think we covered most of that in some of the other questions, but
Yeah,
what do you see your role as?
you know, not very often have I been the super vocal leader, but I try to lead by example is usually how I go about it. If I can show up to work every day with a good attitude, um, you know, create great relationships with my teammates, and then go about my business the right way, I don't think you need to be super vocal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that your actions speak louder than words, and I know that's kind of trite, and you hear that all the time, but I think it's true. And
Absolutely.
if it doesn't matter what you say if you can't back it up. So I'd rather let my actions speak for me.
I agree. Well said. Um, name a coach or a teammate over the course of your career that has the biggest impact on you and why.
Coach wise, you know, it was honestly before pro ball was my two biggest influences coaching wise. Um, our high school coach, we both played for the same high school coach and college coach,
Mm-hmm.
and we were lucky for that. And Coach Eric Kibler, I think he got us ready for collegiate baseball. I think he taught us how to play the game the right way, with passion and hard work, and
Absolutely.
how you're supposed to act on the field, and how to be a good teammate. And then I think Pat Murphy, our college coach, took it to another level where he added those things, but he also added a little bit of a mental edge, almost a sports psychology edge to it, where he tested you,
Mm-hmm.
but always for the better. And it was, at the time, you might not have enjoyed it or might not have understood why, a lot of times maybe, but I think that when you got done and you looked back, you were thankful that you had gone through it. And I think those two guys are probably the biggest influences on my baseball career.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Kibler, laid down. He harped and harped and harped on fundamentals,
Yeah.
and doing things the right way. Yeah,
Laid the foundation.
laid the foundation. Yeah, this is how you do it. This is how you work as a team. This is how we're gonna do it.
Yep.
And same is true with Murph on this next point is, well, if you don't like it, then that's fine. We don't need you.
Yeah.
I'll go with the guys that I got.
The game will survive without you if you really don't want to play. So
Absolutely.
don't think that you're bigger than the game.
Mm-hmm. No, two incredible coaches that I think have they understood that they could have a huge positive impact on their players, and they did a great job of implementing that. And like you said, they didn't always make sense at the time.
No.
But looking back on it, you're thankful that you got to play for coaches like that.
Very lucky.
How do you handle criticism? Because you obviously, once you made it to the big leagues, obviously the media attention gets bigger. You still have the media all the way through, a little bit in high school, a little bit more in college, and then as you continue to play and advance in the levels, the media can really kind of speak their mind on some
Mm-hmm.
things that might not always be in the most positive perspective towards the athletes or the pros. How do you handle that?
I think the biggest thing that I've learned that helps me is try not to react right away. Whenever someone's criticized, it instantly makes you emotional. And if you react strictly on emotions, it probably is not what you really want to say. If you step back and almost detach, or take a look kind of outside yourself at what's really being said, you can look at it and it might be true. Criticism isn't always false. So if you take a step back, get outside of your own head and look at it from their perspective and ask yourself, is there any truth to this? And if there is, then maybe you work on it.
Mm-hmm.
If there's not any truth to it, then you don't really worry about it.
Right.
You listen to it and you kind of just let it go. It's out of your head now, and all right, that's their opinion, then that's fine. But I think that's the number one key to me is try not to react when you're emotional, because some things get said or done when you're emotional that one might not be good for you, and two might not be what you really want to say.
Yeah, because you're gonna get a lot of criticism from coaches over the years too.
Yeah.
You know, and you have two different ways to handle that. You can either think, well, I'm doing it right, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Or, like you said, I think the big part of that response was, you know, step back,
Yeah.
you know, kind of step back from the circle and look at it from a different perspective. And is what they're saying fact to it? And if it's a coach telling you it, then there's probably good reason a coach is. It's obvious that criticism from a coach in media is a lot different.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know, taking that criticism, good or bad, you can always turn it good in one way or another.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's how you reacted to something that was completely false and unfounded and it didn't have any relevance to what happened or whatever it might be, or a coach, you take that criticism and you can improve your game or whatever other aspect, even in business life, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Name 3 things an athlete needs to be successful in sport.
Discipline, and then discipline.
You guys make sure you write that down. You might need to rewind it just so you can get all 3 of those. So,
I don't know. That's something that I've always felt was not just in sports but in life. Discipline is huge, and it kind of opens up the door to everything else. If you're mentally disciplined, if you're physically disciplined, you know, it all works together to make you the person you want to be. And just for an example, let's say you're mentally disciplined about your diet. You are creating an environment for your body to grow and be stronger and be healthy and stay on the field. And so I think that discipline in all areas is going to help you improve as a person in all aspects. So it's also not just the big things. I think that the discipline to do all the little things kind of build up, and they start to add up, and you gain confidence the more disciplined you are, and the more you can do, the better you feel about yourself, and stay disciplined. And now it's not, I didn't take one massive leap from being just okay to the best.
Right.
It's a gradual improvement and over a long period of time, where you've done all these little things. And you know, I think you and I say it all the time, is Murph would tell us a whole lot of little stuff adds up to big stuff.
Right. Slightly different
Maybe,
words, but
yeah, maybe.
same thing.
Yeah.
Murphisms.
The best.
I think, I don't know if he said it as many times or had you guys write it down as many times, because we had, in team meetings, we always had to have a notebook and a pen, which is one of the little things that carried on, you know, after I got done playing, to, you know, having to work a job and, you know, try and be a professional after baseball.
Yeah.
But I think we had to write his definition of discipline down. Maybe every other day, but it's, you know, his definition was doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And a lot of times
those
those decisions you got to make, they're, you know, it's not necessarily what you want to do at the time.
No.
In the back of your head, you know it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But it's easy to kind of get sidetracked on that.
Yeah, and people, I think, another thing about discipline is you don't need motivation to be disciplined. I think a lot of people wait for motivation to do things, and I think the majority of the time, if you're waiting for motivation, I think you're just going to continue to wait. You're going to keep waiting and say, I'm not motivated yet. But if you have discipline, you just do it.
Yeah.
And it's a choice you make. And I think if you're gonna do it, you do it.
Yeah.
You don't wait for anything. If you wanna be a better athlete, you have to work, and
Yeah.
and you make the choice to work, and you're not waiting for motivation to go to the gym, or you're waiting for motivation to eat well, or build a relationship with your teammates. You're doing it.
Yeah, I'll wait for that next inspirational, nutritional Instagram to eat better next time from now.
Exactly. Yeah.